Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PrincipalCast podcast, coming to you live from the birthplace of Rocky Balboa in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with your host, Jeff Bradbury.
Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night, September the 15th, 2013 at 9:30, and this is the first ever episode of the PrincipalCast. Now, my name is Jeff Bradbury from TeacherCast.net, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight is a real treat. It is the first ever fully live broadcast featuring three amazing principals from all across the country, and they have asked me to come on today and introduce their show, and they are very, very interested in talking to you about what it takes to be a principal, what kind of tech are you doing, and I want to swing the show over before too long to the beautiful and wonderful principal from Wisconsin, Miss Jessica Johnson. Jessica, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for that great intro, Jeff.
Well, I at this point, I will pass the show over to you and have a good time.
Okay, so this is the first full live podcast because the first one totally didn't work. We are going to be calling ourselves the Principal Podcast. So if you're on Twitter, it's hashtag Principal Podcast, even though it's been Admin Cast today too. But Principal Podcast, the podcast keeping principals connected and learning together. Or else we can also say we're defying heat and picking up where Australian principals leave off. We'll explain that joke later, maybe. We have with us tonight Teresa.
That was Spike. But that's okay. Just a real quick jump in. We're actually doing Principal Cast, not Principal Podcast, because that's the website.
Really? It's Principal Cast?
Yes.
For real?
Principal Cast.
Yeah,
I know.
I was going to say that, but I didn't.
I tweeted it out all wrong tonight. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
So delete the whole intro, everybody. Just pretend you didn't hear that. All right. So we have.
It's only the second time we've done this now.
All right. Introduce yourself, Teresa.
All right. My name is Teresa Stagger, and I am a first-year principal in Michigan, just outside of Detroit. And I was a music teacher for 8 years. And I worked in the business world for a little while, and now I am a first-year administrator. So I am the newbie of the group, and it's great. It's good times. And over to Spike now.
Hey, everybody. My name is Spike Cook. I'm principal at Bacon Elementary School located in southern New Jersey, and I've been there for about 2.5 years. Prior to that, I spent some time in higher education and also did some time as a guidance counselor, vice principal, teacher, bunch of different things. So I look forward to participating tonight, and I think we have a couple cool things to talk about, and hopefully you'll get something out of this.
All right, and I am Jessica Johnson. I'm elementary principal in the middle of Wisconsin. This is my 6 years as an elementary principal. Before this, I've been in Arizona and also in Minnesota. All right, so we've got just a list of things that we'll be talking about each time we're here. We'll be talking about what's been happening with us. We'll have a question from the newbie, that's Teresa, or any other newbies can ask questions if they want to. We'll share something awesome, talk about something in the news and education, and then principals to follow on Twitter. So first up, what's been happening? What's been happening with you, Teresa?
Oh, goodness. This week for us was the end of the first full week of school, my first full week, so that was really exciting. It was nice to get through an entire week with the kids, just being, in it. We did have a rough week. I know most of the country was, at least in the Midwest, we were in a heat wave up here, and we don't have air conditioning in our building. So the heat indexes, whatever, however you pluralize that, we're up at about 106 by the end of the day. So it was a rough couple days, but everybody was great about it. The kids were good. So that was great. And this week I got my final approvals for our one-to-one iPad program, which we plan to, I know, I'm so excited. We're starting in October with the 4th graders, and then we're going to roll out to the whole school in January. And so I'll be ordering them tomorrow. So that's my week. It was a good one.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, it's a good one. And Jess, I know that you're doing a one-to-one iPad program too, and I'd be interested to see if anyone else watching or anyone else listening on the replay is doing a one-to-one iPad program, because that would definitely be interesting to share stories and ideas.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We're one-to-one with iPads in every grade, all the way from preschool through 5th grade, and we are just starting to. So I'd love to connect with other principals in the same boat there. Awesome. All right, what's happening in your world, Spike?
Well, I was joking with Jessica and Teresa earlier in the week when they were saying how hot it was, and then the heat did get to southern New Jersey. We had a couple of days that were really hot, but we survived our first full week. We started last Friday, so we had like one day, and then we had the weekend off. So this was our first full week, and basically what we focus on this week was just establishing norms and, having all the kids understand what our expectations are for our school. We use the positive behavior support in schools philosophy. So we have 3 simple rules for the kids to understand: be safe, be responsible, be respectful. And so we made sure that we really focus on that. So I observed teachers in all capacities, whether it's in the hallway, classroom, cafeteria, outside for recess, just going over what those rules and expectations are. Kindergarten teachers taking the kids out and showing them what a fire drill looks like, and all our special area teachers getting a chance to know the new kids and get everything started. So it was a really great fresh start to the new year. Our overall theme this year is it's all about respect, and so a little bit later I'll talk about how our staff got together and made a video for that. So, but other than that, I would say it was a really good week. I know for myself, a bunch of administrative meetings that I had to organize and just make sure that we have everybody's support, throughout the district. I'm in a very large district where we have 11 schools. So sometimes it's difficult to manage, where how you see yourself in one elementary school, you're one of 6 elementary schools, but then to also see yourself in the entire district, as being one of 11. So that really takes on a challenge at the beginning of the year, because we're vying for everybody's attention. We want all the supervisors and superintendents and whatnot to come to our school, but they have to get around to everybody else. But it was a great week.
Oh, great. Well, I have had a pretty smooth second week of this school year, I guess, which is really nice, knock on wood, which is great because I've been kind of hiding in my office for the past couple of days working on getting us ready for MAP testing, unfortunately, and I don't like to be in my office. Actually, I like to talk about principals getting out of the office, which this last week, for one day, I did present an instructional coaching session to a bunch of other principals, and then on Tuesday of next week, I'll be presenting that in a webinar with Shira Leibowitz and Kathy Perrett on the Principal Center. So that's pretty exciting. I like talking about that even though I've been sitting in my office. And I do just want to give a shout out to Akivi, who I know is watching live right now tonight. I'm not sure if we've got any other people watching us live, maybe laughing at our first podcast here, how we're doing. So we're glad to have you here. All right, so let's share. How about a question from the newbie? Teresa, do you have any questions for us tonight?
You know what? We had Jessica, Spike, and I use Voxer throughout the week, and we do a lot of our chatting and discussing. It's nice to have when you're. I remember when I first got this job, someone said to me, "It's very lonely at the top, so make sure that you connect with as many principals as you can, because it's not like it was when you were a teacher, where you're in the building and you can talk to everybody about what's going on." So, Jessica, Spike, and I have kind of created this cohort that is really nice because we can kind of vent in a safe place and bounce ideas off of each other. And one of the questions that came up this week was regarding school Facebook pages and what you do and what you don't do and things like that. So I think that would be a good thing for us to discuss this week, is what you have on your Facebook page, et cetera, et cetera. We have a chat in the website chat box if you want to share with us if you're live and you want to share with us what Josie is here from Poughkeepsie Day School. And she is, so Josie, if you have a Facebook page and you want to share with us, that would be great. But I guess I'll start with mine. I have a personal Facebook page, obviously, but we have a school Facebook page that was set up before I came in, and the people who have access to post on it are myself, the athletic director, the school advisory council president, and then I think there's one other parent who works with the athletics. And so those are the only people, and the religious education director, because we're in a Catholic school. They are the only people who have the ability to post as the name of the page. But we have the parents who follow us, and so we use it for broadcasting information. But we really haven't had any issues with people posting questions, things like that. If they have a question, they send us a direct message or a personal message on Facebook. But we really haven't had any issues with people posting directly on the page. But it's worked okay for us so far. But I know we discussed that wasn't the case in all of our buildings. So does anybody else want to jump in?
Sure, yeah. So we've got a Facebook page for my elementary, and I'm so far right now the only person who posts on it. I would love to open it up eventually to teachers so that they can be, posting great things that are happening in the school, and it's not just me. But for now, it's just me, and it's been really great. Great feedback from parents that like getting information that way, and for the most part, haven't had any issues with parents putting anything inappropriate in the comments. I did just recently have that, but I really think the issue is that the parent doesn't realize the difference between commenting publicly versus sending me a message. So that's something we're kind of working on. And I did chat with Melinda Miller. She's Miller7571 on Twitter. She had said that she actually at the beginning of each year and then a couple times throughout the year will post something like, remember this page is viewable by students and we want to model for them, and let's make sure that anything we comment on is appropriate for them. And I just thought that was a great idea too, because then it's making sure that they all know what that's viewable for, and then also stating on there that if you have any concerns, contact me personally, not on the Facebook page. So those were some helpful tips.
That is a really good tip.
Yeah, it was interesting. We had we started our Facebook page last year. There was a Facebook page prior to me getting there, and I don't know if anyone remembers who started it, what the password was. So as I kept posting on it and trying to drum up interest, I was like, well, we might as well just start our own page, our new page. So we did that. We have a handful of teachers that are able to post on it, and most of them are pushing out their blogs or pushing out just various information. The situation that happened this week, ironically, was there was a parent that wasn't very happy with a situation that happened with their child. And it's very interesting because we talk about like online responsibility and expectations, and you hear a lot about how people have they act differently online than they do in person. So I was actually out of the building when I heard about all this. My son was sick. So as I said, we had our first full week. I didn't even work a whole week. I was off a day. So already. But I'm getting all this information, and I was thinking, wow, it probably is one of our new parents, that was posting on their Facebook, not ours, but on their Facebook about, how they were not very happy with the situation that happened at school. Well, it turns out that once I got back to school and I figured out who the person was, I was like, wow, that's very interesting, because it just didn't sit well with me the way I know that person. They're rather involved with the school, and oftentimes are very helpful throughout the school. So basically, it just took a conversation to say, do you know that sometimes you put this stuff out there, you may be venting, but it may be seen as different for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting because, like I said, it just would not fit that person's personality. Yet when you're online, everyone does take on a different persona.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's that it kind of goes along with the cyberbullying issue that most things are dealing with now. Is it people are so much more brave online than they are in person, because when you have that face-to-face, you can see the reaction. People sometimes tend to back off, but because there's no face-to-face and you can't see emotionally what's happening, it's almost like there's nothing stopping you from saying exactly what you think. And then when people start liking it or adding comments to it, it just fuels the fire. So you're right. It's a sticky situation, though.
And when I see people post, just who are my friends, and they may post something about their child's education or something like that. Like, granted, like at the end of August, you'll see a lot of, just do you have Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so? And then you start seeing all these comments and stuff come in. And
right.
I rarely get involved with those. But a friend of mine, his wife had posted something about a project that their child had to do. And I reluctantly just said, what was the rubric? How were they getting evaluated? And so therefore I was in that thread. So every time like one of her friends saw that, that post that she made, it was simple. It was something like, here's the picture of, his All About Me, and the teacher wanted less white space on the poster, and, I'm really frustrated by this, and I'm trying to do the best that I can. Like, she was just trying to put it out there, I thought. But then the comments that kept coming in, I was like, why did I even get involved in this thread? Because they had nothing to do like what I was asking, like about a rubric or anything like that. It was just, what do these teachers do all day? They have nothing better to do. Like, I was like, oh, why did I even get involved in this? So, but then again, like, I look at it from another perspective. Like, there is, that's no different than the conversations that happen in people's houses or at the soccer fields or something like that. So unless I feel like somebody's being completely over the top, I think it's just part of this. It is where people vent. I mean, we have
right.
teachers that I've had conversations with during the day. They go home and they make a comment on Facebook about how they're feeling, and I think to myself, was that directed at me? So.
Oh, good. I'm glad that's not just.
But it's just their way of. I mean, that's what people do. I don't do that. So there we go.
Yeah, I think part of, like you just said, Spike, that it's the venting, which is, we all vent. I think the big difference though is that when you're venting at the soccer field, or you're venting to your husband or your wife when you're at home, it's said and it's done. But when you're posting on Facebook, it's there. It's memorialized on that page forever, and that makes it a little bit harder to deal with, because you go, okay, well, if it's said out loud, it was said, it's done. But when it's posted on there, then you have to decide, do I leave it there so that other people can see it and continue the venting process? Do you mute it? Do you hide it? Do you take care of it right away? I think that's the struggle with Facebook, is that it's always there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did have a couple that I decided to hide their comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the most difficult thing is I've heard this happen before. It's like, you may be faced with something like where you're the next principal that a child may have had, and they were very vocal about past problems that they may have had, maybe not even understanding the language that the principal spoke. We talked about that earlier, where you have you're the person who follows an Australian principal, and people will make comments like they don't even understand this person. I'm sorry, that was like
so we'll just have to say what that joke is. So some parents were upset with a principal who was from Australia and has an Australian accent, and he's in Wisconsin, and wanted him fired. So that's just become our joke. Wanted him fired because he doesn't speak English. He speaks English, he just has an Australian accent.
Yeah.
So for those of you who have chatted with us before know that we're on Voxer and we Vox each other back during the day with funny stories. And some Australian principal hacked into Spike's Voxer account and was leaving me messages each day.
Crazy. And I think he was upset about all that stuff that was going on Facebook. But, I mean, what can you do?
I bet he was.
But you know what? I can listen to the Australian accent all day, so it's totally okay with me.
That's right.
All right. Well, now let's
funny.
move on from that.
Yeah. So we do have in the hold on. I'm trying to keep all the chats together.
I don't know how you're doing it. I'm not, Teresa.
Not well. Josie Holford from Poughkeepsie Day School says that they have their Facebook. They have one, and they are 7 likes away from 1,000. So that's exciting.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Day School. Yeah, Facebook.com/Poughkeepsie Day School.
I'm going to get them another like.
I know, absolutely.
I wonder,
we should. She's
so
on
I'm
the
curious,
chat on the
I'm
Twitter
curious
chat.
how big her school is to have that. You know, is it a large
Josie,
school to have that many?
Josie, if you're still on and you can hear us, can you let us know how big your school is?
I
how
think
many students you have?
The real question is, how do you spell Poughkeepsie?
Pough Keepsie.
Wasn't that an episode of Friends?
Yes.
About that?
In Poughkeepsie. Yes.
Whoa, there's a lot.
I will send it out.
Yeah, can you send that out?
Yeah,
make sure we get to 1,000.
I will. There's a Poughkeepsie Day School, and I will tweet it with the hashtag.
And she is listening. She just replied. She's still listening. Thanks
great.
for staying with us, Josie.
Yeah, there you go, Josie.
Awesome,
right.
awesome.
Okay.
So, Josie, since you're listening, if you could let us know how many students you have in your school, that would be awesome. And then the other text that we got on the hashtag is from am I saying it right? Akivi? Akivi? How do you say his name?
I always botch it. I think it's Akivi.
Akivi.
Okay.
Akivi.
Akivi, thank you. He says that NMHS principal, who is Eric Meininger, I always say his name wrong too, but Eric Scheninger, thank you, is an expert when it comes to school social media and policies, and that's totally true.
And I would add Joe Mazza also.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
was actually going to bring him up later
them.
on today. If you looked at our show notes, so.
Well, I was thinking.
Don't steal my thunder. Come on.
Okay.
We'll get there.
All right, moving on with topics. Our next part of our topics is something awesome. This could be anything that any of us want to share that's just awesome. You want to start us out, Spike?
I would, and you know what? I'm gonna tweet this out. One of the things I talked a little bit about it last week, but I was chosen to do the keynote address for our district, and like I said earlier, we have a very large district, so I think we probably had like 1,300 employees. So doing the keynote was a lot. I mean, and I put a lot of time and effort into it, and it had to be on. All I was given was that it had to be on innovation. So I shared the story of Sadia, who is my guidance counselor's daughter, and she was at school. I want to say like towards the end of the school year last year, like sometime in June, and we just happened to be talking, and she showed me her iPad, and of course we're talking about things, and I was like, do you have anything, you know, cool or interesting, you know, that you want to show me? And she showed me the app Video Star, and she showed me this video that she worked on, and it was amazing, and I was really taken back by it. So I asked her to finish it, and it's really funny because I talked to my guidance counselor later on, and she said, okay, yeah, Sadie finished it, and it was like, she's like, I don't know how much she spent on all these apps. Video Star is free, but then the more effects that you want to do, it becomes a little bit more, you know, if you want to get, you know, different apps, you have to upgrade, and she spent a lot of money on it. But anyway, I did a post on her, and I utilized her in my overall keynote, and basically what I find interesting is how one kid could influence teachers and administrators and really a whole school district. So I used her and as an example. And if you'll see on my post, I basically take you through, like, here's me. I'm trying to talk about innovation. I'm on social media, connecting with principals and educators throughout the country and throughout the world. And here's a little, girl going into 5th grade that was able to, kind of show me something different that I was able to share with my district. And then what my staff did was take that and say, well, we're going to have to do something with this. So our theme, as I said earlier, is it's all about respect. So we made a video star video with Aretha Franklin's Respect. So we got all the teachers and custodians and secretaries, everybody got involved, and we made that video, and that was our welcome back video. So it was really cool. And then I sent the post out today, and I talked to her mom, and she's just so proud, because she was thinking, how just a single conversation, with Sadia, how could that have impacted, me so much, and then take that to the next level, and then it just kept going and going with all these people who now know the story of Sadia.
That's really cool. I enjoyed reading your post today on that, and I want to see the Respect video. That sounds like fun.
Cool. Yeah, it's in that post. So I'll, I will send that out now. And basically, the post is, who's going to be your Sadia? So who's going to be the person this year? The kid. That's really what I was trying to get at. Who's going to be the kid that's going to be your inspiration, and I said this in the speech. I said, Sadie is an entrepreneur. Sadie has dreams, she has ideas, she has passions.
Is she? Oops, sorry, Spike. Is she the one that just got on Twitter this week, and it her Twitter profile says she's an entrepreneur, and
I don't know. I didn't know.
Some student just started following me, and I thought it was you who when she asked who should I follow that knows how to really use Twitter for good purposes, and then I thought it was you, or maybe it was Tony, that replied to follow me and a couple others.
Oh, yeah,
I had no idea who this girl was, but I thought, sure, I'll follow you if you're like a 10-year-old entrepreneur. I can learn something from you.
Well, I call her like an entrepreneur because she entrepreneurs, are people who do things differently. They take chances, they take risks, and it's so funny because when I talk to her mom, she's like, she takes some risk, and so she sees it like from the parent perspective.
Oh no, that's not who it was. It was somebody else. But
here's a great. She has, and what the real point that I tried to make with everyone is like, who's ready to step on those dreams and extinguish the passion and curtail those ideas? Nobody would answer yes to that, but very often I find that we do, and we don't even realize that we do it. How often do we really listen to students? Do we really kind of get engaged with what they want to do and how they want to be, as human beings? So then I basically said, how she impacted all of us, and then, who are you going to learn from this year? And like I said, who's going to be your Sadia?
That's very cool.
Awesome.
All right, Teresa, your turn.
My turn. What I heard the most when I came in to the school that I'm at now is that communication was severely lacking with the former administrator. So I have done everything I possibly can to I feel like I'm almost overloading the communication, but the parents love it. We have a Twitter feed. We have the Facebook page. I'm constantly posting pictures of what the kids are doing in the classrooms. We have forms that the parents fill out that say that we can put the kids' pictures online, and we do have a few that say that they can't. So we just make sure that they're not in the pictures. But we have each of the teachers. I'm working with them to get a Twitter feed on their class website so that the parents can see daily what's happening in the classroom. And then, like this week when it was so hot, we were sending tweets home all day. We were putting on Facebook what we were doing to keep the kids cool throughout the day. So what I did was I was using iMovie, which if you have a Mac, it comes with. I used iMovie to create a real short podcast. It was a 2.5, maybe 3 minute just quick rundown. I made a little list that I put on my computer keyboard, and I just read down the different things that were happening throughout the week. And the parents loved it. They loved it. They were sending it to each other. They were putting notes on it. They were so thankful that we were taking so much time and care into making sure that they knew what was happening in our school. So iMovie, like I said, totally free if it comes with the if you have a Mac, and if not, there are a ton of different quick programs that you can use. I know Dell has a computer, a camera that comes in it, but I know my parents really appreciated it, and so I'll tweet out the link to that as well. It was just, like I said, a really quick video. It's not going to mean much to, anyone outside of our building, but at least you can see, the format that we did it in.
Teresa, I'm sorry to jump in, Jess, but I just want to say, it is so awesome to see what you're doing, in a week. Or a week or two.
Yeah, as a first-year principal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so envious of you because you have, completely gotten engaged with being a connected administrator and, telling the story of your school. And I love hearing that kind of stuff because, a lot of people will say, well, I need some time, I'm going to get to that, and I think what you've done is you've just said, this is it, and this is who I am, and I hope that your teachers and your parents, appreciate that because it's a lot of work that I know that you work very hard, but that's awesome that you did that.
Thank you.
Yeah, good for you, Teresa.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Kurt Reese, he also does videos to inform parents of what's going on, and he's got some regular fifth graders who do those, record those videos with him, and they've got, their, I think, a Ustream account and YouTube channels and whatever,
great.
And they have a really fun time with those, and someday I might get around to that too. Before I share something, Brian on the TeacherCast chat was just asking what professional administrative organizations and associations do we belong to or follow to grow as an administrator. So I think we can stop and answer that. I belong to NAESP and ASCD and love those, as well as our state association in Wisconsin, which is ASA. How about the rest of you?
I'm a member of NAESP as well as and the NASSP because our school is pre-K through 8, so we also cover partial of the secondary school, and then our Michigan administration, and I think and we have MANS, which is the Michigan Association of Non-Public Schools. So because we're not a public school district, so we were a part of that as well. And McCull is our not music. I'm sorry, I was a music teacher for a while. It's the Michigan Educators Computer Users and Learning, I think is what it stands for. But it's the tech education group in Michigan.
That's cool. It's same thing. ASCD. I've learned a lot from ASCD. NAESP had an opportunity to present there this summer. I know they're really trying to do a lot of work with their social media campaign and getting more connected. And then we have state and local associations that I'm involved with as well. But I'll tell you what, biggest learning that I've had besides the organizations is Twitter. CP Chat and Twitter mentors like Jessica and Kurt, who was mentioned earlier, and then just everyone else that's out there. I think one of the biggest, and I have to plug him because he's also helping us out, but I mean, what a wealth of information just going to TeacherCast as far as professional development. You can learn about so many things through TeacherCast.
Yeah, all kinds of podcasts and chats. All right. The one thing I was just going to share this week, I love making screencasts to help my teachers just learn different tech things to do. And I've finally figured out how to screencast on my iPad using Edu Creations. And it's an app that we've used with our students before. But previously, you'd get your pictures put in of what you wanted, and you'd start recording, and then you mess up, and you have to start all over, and it would wipe out your whatever's on each of your screens. And I tweeted to EduCreations of how painful that was, and please, update that, and they finally did. And so I made a screencast the other day for my teachers using EduCreations, and it was like super, super fast. So I just thought that just sharing that tool to be able to podcast on your iPad, or not podcast, I'm sorry, screencast, to be able to, show a how-to of how to do something on your iPad. However, the only weird glitch is that when I embedded that video clip that I then made in my blog post for my teachers, if they were watching it on an iPad, this is where I get so goofed up. When you embed it in online, it's Java-based or Flash-based, so that it doesn't work on the iPad unless you somehow can get the link to open it up in the EduCreations app. So I don't know if anybody has a workaround that you make it on an iPad and then it didn't work on the iPad. I don't know. But so you have to share the actual within the EduCreations app. If you're checking out something on a website, it's not going to show up in there. So kind of worked, kind of didn't, but really easy to screencast that way.
We just jumping on top of the screencasting, we got new laptops this year. It was time for the teachers to have new machines, and so we ordered MacBook Airs for everyone. And I, being the nerd that I am, love setting up a new computer. So I left it for everyone to set up. And I said, I haven't even turned it on. It's all for you. And the only thing I asked them to do was set up their iMessage with their school email accounts, because we don't have telephones in the classrooms. We don't have any drops. So we're using iMessage to communicate between the classrooms. Oh. So I said, that's all I asked to do. Just please do that. And I got all these emails. And then we had to download Numbers, Excel, or Numbers pages and Keynote. And so I made a screencast on how to, copy the link, put it in the iTunes account, download the thing. But it just answered so many questions. It's so much easier because then I can watch it over and over again.
Okay, so Teresa, since I just got a MacBook Pro and I'm switching from not having a Mac, you just need to share any screencast that you make related to the MacBook Pro, because I can hardly use it. And I call Jeff almost daily, and he still responds. He hasn't blocked my calls yet. Nice. So thanks, Jeff.
Done and done.
All right, so next on our agenda is to talk about something in the news, ed-related, keeping current. And I don't have a link to share on an article. I just had read some or heard it on the news one time about parents getting upset about the BMI reports that are going home from PE classes. I don't know if you've heard this in the news. I know our school does do this, where I can't even think of what the assessment is.
Is it the principal's or the president's?
It's something like that.
President's physical fitness?
It's a fitness test, and so then the kids get an actual report. And I know I loved getting one on my son last year, and he loved it, like seeing what he needed to work on and what he was good at and what he wasn't. So just kind of throwing that out there. What do you think about that? Why are parents upset about these reports coming home, and how do we help prevent that, I guess, of parents getting upset over this?
Was there something sent home or communication sent to them beforehand, or did it just come home?
Well, for us, I mean, I haven't heard in my world of any parents getting upset. I've just been hearing about this on the news. So I do know for my school, it went home with their report card. It was, it was from that page was from the Phi Ed teacher. It was really obvious to know that was from Phi Ed, and it went home with the mailing that also included the report card.
Can I just ask a clarification, and then I'll go with what I think about this. But what's Phi Ed?
Phys Ed.
Oh.
Is that what you call it, Jess?
Yeah. What do you call it over there?
We call it Phys Ed.
Phys Ed, yeah. Or if you call it gym, then a lot of times people say that's the place education. Where it is.
Right.
It's really supposed to be called physical education, but Phi Ed, huh?
I call it Phi Ed over here in Wisconsin.
Josie in the chat room says the BMI report sound a bit intrusive.
And that's what I was going to say too. I could see where parents would think it's a little bit intrusive, but I think one of the things that we've been doing is, and we just got a bronze medal for this, and I have 2 teachers that are going to be going down to Little Rock, Arkansas, to receive this award, and we have another school in the district that got a silver medal, and these are pretty extensive awards through the Healthy Schools Initiative.
Right.
And they're going to get a chance to meet Bill Clinton and all this kind of stuff, which is
Wow,
really
that's
cool.
cool.
And part of that is, the recommendations is taking that information from either your Phy Ed or your Phys Ed teachers, and whatever that assessment is, and making sure, and doing it with the nurse, and making sure that information is communicated with the parents. And I think it's all under the guise of, childhood obesity and, impacting, this from a healthy perspective. But I can see where, parents could think, maybe that's something that needs to go through the doctor's office or whatever. But I think if we look at it from, the perspective of it's also data, and that we can, help students with that, I think that's a sounding board that we could begin to have that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Teresa? Like, you guys do anything that with your?
You know what? We don't. In regards to sending home the BMI, my kids go to the school. I'm back and forth on it, because I can understand the feeling that it might be obtrusive. I can completely get it. However, most of what physical education now and the healthy initiative is making sure that the students are, sorry, I'm trying to read Josie's chat while we're in here too, and Justin, I'll discuss in a second, but part of what this is intended to do is to help them learn how to be healthy and be healthy students, healthy adults. And I almost feel from the educational standpoint that it's not bad. Now see this, this is where Josie says we probably have to engage all participants first, get the kids signing on to wanting it, and then she says it should be done with the kids, not for them. If they engage and take ownership, then it could make sense. The potential for shaming is high. We need to engage kids first, then families on board with the goals, and learning how to be healthy cannot be imposed. If it's something that the phys ed teacher is working one-on-one with the students, if it's it's almost like reading levels. The way I'm thinking about it is, if there's a student who is in a lower reading level, we work with them on how to correct that. So if we have a student with a higher BMI, wouldn't we try to fix that too? And the kids know which reading groups they're in, and I'm sure that there's a little bit of shaming that happens with that too. But our job is to teach them appropriately how to handle, what it is that we're giving them. I don't know. In our school, I don't know how it would go over. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. I think if it's dealt with the right way, I think it's a really good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some really good points brought up.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff in the chat.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting a little stressed out from all the different screens to follow. But there was another question not related to that from Justin, who almost has the same last name as me, and I just lost it already. He asked, does anyone know how computers or tablets are being used to enhance instruction in high school math classes? I know there's a lot of people using them for assessments, but not heard much about instruction. And actually, that's a good question. I just read an article last week about a school who just bought all this new technology so that they'd be ready for the new assessments. And I thought, that is not why you should be buying your technology. It should be for instruction. So in terms of high school math, the only thing I can speak to from in my district is I know that they are using technology for this very individualized math program online called Alex. And in terms of high school, that's all I can talk about. But I know in like in the elementary, my school, we have a lot of technology that's available to them, obviously on their iPads, but specific programs for the math program that we use called Math Expressions. And then often they use EduCreations on their iPads in just going through the process of explaining and showing how to solve a math problem.
Yeah,
the others.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not so sold on iPads in
high school. Probably not.
Yeah, you guys are doing awesome, like with the one-on-one initiatives and stuff. But I have to kind of bring up a point, and I know you weren't too much of a big fan of that, but we're going, to that park system of assessments, and we don't have enough devices right now. So I know that's a big conversation that's happening, in our school district, is how are we going to be able to build the capacity, and we're going to have to get more devices. And, they sort of have suggestions on what you can use for the park assessments. And I know that iPad is one of the options, and you can get a keyboard and stuff, but, I'm thinking, like with us, we're probably going to lean more towards laptops, but it's a shame, but the way that I look at it is, well, at least we're going to be getting more devices. Like it may be under the guise of assessment, but we are going to get more devices in the kids' hands. I don't know, Teresa, what do you think about that?
You know what, we have actually the one of the schools that my school feeds into has a math program in which they are one-to-one. And so I know that our 8th graders have been one-to-one in the past because we send some of our 8th graders over to the high school to utilize that math class for the more advanced math. I haven't personally been in that situation yet. I haven't gotten a chance to go over there and see it, but they utilize it a lot. I don't know exactly what it is. In Michigan, we use. I'm sorry if you can hear
that. That's awesome. They're singing to you.
I can see you guys are trying so hard not to laugh.
Are they saying tea time?
He's yelling sleep time, and I don't know why he's not in bed. It's 10:15. He's 4. Maybe he won't go to sleep.
I don't know. We got to find out who that kid's mom is.
Yeah, really.
Darn, principal's
who's in charge of that kid? Oh, wait,
yet.
It's me. So anyway,
it's cool. You're doing great, Teresa.
Yeah, thanks. I was trying really hard. So we have we do have in the state of Michigan, we do have an assessment. Josie and I were just going back and forth. Oh, she thought I was a cat. Yeah, he sounds like a cat sometimes. Okay. She said technology is for learning, not testing. And I was just typing in before Jacob started on his serenade that we have a testing system in Michigan that they utilize the iPads for. And I don't know much about it because it's only for the schools that are one-to-one, but we don't need to use it. Only the public schools do it. Public schools do MEAPS, which are the Michigan Educational Assessment Programs, and we do Iowa testing. So we don't have to do this technological test, but I don't know. Lots of stuff.
All right. Well, we are already to the end where we're going to share principles to follow on Twitter. So each time we'll each recommend another principle, which I do have to say, this is really hard to just pick one each week because there are so many that are awesome. So I'm going to start out by sharing that you should all follow Tony Sinanis in New York. His last name is an anagram, which I think is really cool. He is on Twitter. He is Cantiague Lead, which is, I have to spell it. It's CANTIAGUE _ lead. And he is the principal of, I can't remember what school right now, but I know his school has been a Blue Ribbon school. I know he's been on the TeacherCast podcast. And he's got a really awesome blog that I like to follow. It's leadingmotivatedlearners.blogspot.com. And most recently, he posted a blog post called I'm a 9. And I don't know, maybe Spike, you can, Spike, you're in New Jersey, never mind. But in New York, how educators are given a number between 1 through 20 based on test scores and evaluations, and he wrote about how he was given a 9. And I actually read it the day after we got our state our state report card back, which is embargoed right now, so I can't share what that is. But every time I get that back, I always beat myself up that it's not high enough or whatever, and I just really appreciated reading his honesty about it. He's always very open and honest about how he feels about all this testing that we have to do, and just everything. He's just a great person to follow.
I got a chance to meet him in person at NAESP this summer and have connected with him as well. He's a really good guy. I really like him too, Jess. Great pick. Okay, so I'll go next. I'm going to bring up Joe Mazza. He was talked about earlier. Joe, who I've had the opportunity to meet a couple times in person as well, because he's not very far from me. He's on the outside of Philadelphia, so he's only about 45 minutes away. I've actually been to his school and brought because he's really he has one of the leading researchers right now. Just finished his dissertation on parent involvement and using social media. So I brought one of my parent engagement teachers, and then also our Home and School Association president, and we went out and we did a visit. So we met with Joe and his PTA president, Gwen, who's also on Twitter. And I should probably give you, so he's at Joe_Mazza, Mazza, and he has a really good blog as well. He visited Finland. I think he's presenting in Australia later on in the year. But he's just become a really good colleague, and I've learned a lot from him. And he's very involved with the PT chat, parent-teacher chat. And I don't know, does anybody know what day that is on? I think I want to say.
I think that's Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, yeah.
Right before EduCoach.
Yeah. So he's a really hard worker, but a really, really nice guy. And like I said, I've had the opportunity to meet him a couple times. So
yep, I'm
Joe
actually.
Mazza.
Yeah, I met him at ASCD too. He's an awesome guy. And I've also met who Teresa's going to talk about next.
Yay! My turn. The person that I'm going to plug today is George Kouros.
Oh, yeah.
He's, at G Kouros, Kouros, and I've already tweeted out the link. But he has a blog, connectedprincipals.com, and he is a Canadian administrator. I believe he was a building administrator before, but now he works with the district itself. And he started this year it's hashtag, you can follow it, hashtag SAVMP, and it's the School Administrator Virtual Mentor Program. And it is it's a great program. He gives us every week, he gives a blog, a post for us to think about and consider talking about, and if not, just something to think about as you're going. And then it's got he sets 3 mentees up with a mentor, and so it's kind of like what we're doing here, but on a much, much, much larger scale. And so if you want to follow, I'll put that in the tweet as well, the SAVMP hashtag. It's a really great thing, and George is followed by, I think, every administrator on the face of the earth. So if you're not already following him, you just have to. He's got just so much insight, and he's just so connected. Is just awesome. So George is my pick for this week.
Yeah, I've gotten a chance to meet George before as well, so I'm very happy to report on that, because he is like in person. A lot of times I love that. Like, you meet somebody in person and they're as cool as you would think they are. George is going to be the keynote speaker at Eric Scheninger's Edscape conference, which is, Jeff, if you can help me out on this. I know it's October, and it's going to be up in at Eric's school in New Milford.
That will be October 19th, and it'll be broadcasted live on teachercast.tv.
Yeah, so he's going to be the keynote there, and like you said, Teresa, just a fantastic guy. And I do believe, because I always mention this to my superintendent, his new job is he's the director of innovation for his school district, and I just think that's a fascinating job.
Yeah, and I'm telling you what, I don't have off the top of my head as I'm talking here. George is one of those people where, he's like you said, you literally, you look at these people and he has 37,600 followers, 37,600 people following him, and every time I tweet something with his name or his and the hashtag, he responds back. Mm-hmm. He replies. He sends direct messages. It's unbelievable. So, just a hugely awesome resource.
And of course, we also have to make sure you're following TeacherCast. That's Jeff Bradbury who's running that, and he's always got great things and so many podcasts to follow to learn from there. So this is the end of our chat. We made it through our first one, thanks to Jeff, without any other major tech issues like we had last time that we tried to make happen. So where can we find everybody on Twitter after this, or your blogs or anything? Spike, where can we find you?
I'm at Dr. Spike Cook on Twitter. You can follow me there. And then also my personal blog is drspikecook.com, and then my school blog is rmbaconweekly.blogspot.com. And just want to thank everybody for listening, participating, and then especially those who are going to see the show at a later time.
And Teresa?
I am at Principal Stager, Stager, on Twitter, and my blog is principalstager.blogspot.com. I always say it's blogspot. I do have my work email, but we've got that, or my work blog, but we've got that protected because I use it with information going to the teachers. But that's where you can find me.
All right, and I'm Principal J on Twitter, and my blog is principaljay.net. And I do have a staff blog. If somebody wants to see that, you can just DM me, and I'll send you that. But I do just want to say we will be here again next Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or 9:30 Eastern Time, or I don't know, wherever you are. We'll be on iTunes, thanks to Jeff. Our show notes will be up on principalcast.com, and I'm looking at the rest of his notes of where the archives to view this will be at teachercast.net/YouTube. And thanks for following as I try to follow all the show notes. Have a great week.
Thanks for watching.